If you think you're here by chance, you haven't understood what's happening in your life, because this frequency doesn't manifest at any given moment. It appears when your destiny is about to change. And this isn't a metaphor. What you're about to hear will activate a part of your energy field that's been dormant for years. So pay attention. Visualization isn't what transforms your existence. Vibration is. And as you visualize what you desire without changing your frequency, your reality continues to respond to who you truly are inside, not who you pretend to be on the outside. Even now, your field is already reorganizing. You may feel a warmth in your chest, a strange lightness, or even a sudden chill. This is real, and it's the first sign that your frequency has begun to shift, with no possibility of return. If you leave now, you will miss the most powerful part, the revelation of the code that Thoth has hidden for millennia. And this only unfolds when you begin to vibrate correctly. But if you stay with me until the end, I promise you won't leave the way you arrived. Because when this frequency stabilizes, the entire universe begins to recognize you. If these first words have lit a fire in you, give it a like right away. This isn't just a like, it's a seal, our invisible pact. So I know you recognize this profound truth. And if you feel this is your tribe, join the premium circle. It's not just a membership, it's becoming the guardian of a collective awakening. Here we create new worlds, only for those who know how to listen with their skin. Are you one of us? What is within you is older than time itself. When your vibration returns to its origin, the universe bows before your silence. You have come this far because something within you began to vibrate differently. It wasn't necessarily a thought, not even an emotion. It was like a silent call, something that didn't pass through logic, but passed directly through your field. And when that happens, there's no turning back. You have access to a frequency that doesn't respond to words or explanations, and that's why you're ready to listen to what was never written. This is the moment when the figure of Thoth appears not as a mythological figure, but as a symbol of a wisdom that has resisted the manipulation and distortion of time. Thoth was not merely a divine scribe. He was consciousness itself encoded in vibrational form, a messenger of knowledge that could not be delivered to the masses because it could not be read. It had to be felt. And this is why many approach the Hermetic texts without understanding anything, because they were not created to be comprehended by the mind. They were created to trigger a vibration, to internally reorganize something that had been disconnected. Every symbol, every word, every pause has a specific frequency, a code hidden behind the form. Thoth did not entrust his teachings to the written word because he knew that the world distorts everything it touches. He spoke with his eyes, with silence, with the field. He taught through presence, through the energetic coherence between what one is and what one emanates. And this is how true initiates understood, not because they understood intellectually, but because something within them awakened in response to the vibration. This is the difference between information and revelation. Information passes through the mind, revelation through the field. And you begin to perceive it, you begin to sense that there is something that is not being said but transmitted, a formless content, a truth that escapes words but reaches directly to your core. This knowledge was never hidden out of malice. It was veiled to protect its essence, for only those vibrating at the correct frequency can access it. It cannot be faked or forced, and this is the purest of spiritual filters. Only those who are already awakening can awaken. Only those who have silenced themselves sufficiently can hear the soundless. And what Thoth taught at these deeper levels was not a technique or a ritual. It was a remembrance, a return to the original vibration of being, a dissolving of mental noise so that truth could emerge on its own. He said, "True knowledge cannot be given, it can only be activated." And that is exactly what is happening to you now. You may not understand everything rationally, but something inside you is opening, like an ancient scroll sealed for millennia that begins to unfurl before your soul. And as this happens, you begin to vibrate differently. Your frequency begins to shift. You enter a field where the universe no longer listens to words, it responds to your vibration. And that vibration is becoming coherent. It is beginning to resonate with the truth that Thoth kept silent, a truth that cannot be written, but embodied. But for this frequency to unlock the new life already pulsating around you, you must overcome an obstacle that most people don't notice. A subtle and invisible block, not external, that is now beginning to dissolve because you are stuck in the reality you say you want to change. And here's the part no one wants to admit, but it needs to be said. The reason your reality repeats patterns even when you visualize something better is that the vibration behind those desires still carries the imprint of what you want to avoid. You want to change, but you vibrate like someone who's still stuck. You want to manifest the new, but you're still anchored to the emotions of the old. There's no point in visualizing prosperity with a heart full of fear. The field doesn't hear words, it hears frequency. The universe, as Thoth taught, doesn't respond to what you think you want. It responds to what you are in vibrational coherence with. And this doesn't depend on your intention, it depends on your state. Everything is mind, yes, but mind in a broader sense. The mind is conscious vibration, not isolated thought. Because thought can lie, vibration cannot. It reveals exactly where you are. This is why so many people get frustrated with spiritual practices. They spend hours visualizing, making affirmations, trying to convince themselves they already have what they desire. But inside they still feel lack, fear, doubt. They continue to react to the world as if they were still lost, and the field picks up that vibration instantly. It doesn't matter how much you try to appear aligned if the vibration you emit behind the scenes is inconsistent. The universe isn't impressed by your performance. It responds to what's at your core, to the vibrational truth of your identity. It responds to who you are when you don't try to control anything. And this is where everything starts to make sense, because the mind demands, but the body vibrates. Your body holds the true frequency. It holds the records of your history, your deepest emotions, the beliefs you've repeated until they become patterns. And until your body is vibrationally re-educated, it will continue to emit the signal of the old version, the version that wants change but doesn't feel safe in the new. You can repeat 1,000 times that you're free, prosperous, loved, but if your body still reacts with tension, anxiety, resistance, then that's the signal the field is reading. And that's why nothing changes, or changes for a moment and then returns to the starting point, because the dominant vibration hasn't shifted. This is the prison no one sees. It's not a cell, it's a disorganized field, a contradictory signal telling the universe, I want the new, but I'm still tied to the old. And as long as this internal conflict exists, your reality will continue to follow the same pattern. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because it is faithful to your frequency. It always has been. But there's a precise point where everything begins to change. And that point is much simpler and more dangerous than it seems, because it doesn't happen noisily. It doesn't come with a warning. It manifests itself in detail, in micro gestures, in subtleties. It's that moment when you tell yourself everything's fine, I trust, but your chest is still tight, your breathing is still shallow, your body is still on high alert. And that's precisely where the error that sabotages everything lies, because the field doesn't respond to the sentence, it responds to the tension. This is where most people fail without realizing it. They try to align their minds, but forget about their bodies. And the body holds the memory of what you haven't yet overcome. It vibrates, not yet, even when your mind says it's already like this. You can talk about abundance, but if your stomach tightens at the thought of money, the frequency you're emitting is lack. You can say you're ready for love, but if your body tenses when someone approaches, your field reads rejection. What you feel in the invisible is more powerful than any positive statement you can utter. And it's not that you're lying, it's that you're still carrying old layers. Layers of fear, doubt, and protection. Layers not consciously chosen, but accumulated over time to survive. Your body has learned to protect itself by vibrating away, but now you want to attract. And this is where the conflict arises. The body says, I can't yet. The mind says, I want it now. The field receives both signals, and because there's no coherence, it doesn't respond. Or worse, it responds to the more dominant vibration, which is almost always the one rooted in the body. And that's why everything seems stuck. You think you're doing everything right, but in reality you're sending a split frequency. The universe returns to you what it understands, the same cycle, the same repetition, the same sense of helplessness. And all this without you realizing the exact point of failure. But now you see it, and just seeing it begins to dissolve the pattern, the vibration that Thoth activated when everything was already yours. What does this mean in practice? It means that it's not the strength of your will that transforms your life. It's the strength of your stable vibration. Because while your mind still oscillates between hope and doubt, the universe also remains undecided. But when you firmly establish an internal state, even without proof, even without guarantees, the field has no choice. It adjusts everything to reflect who you have become. The day your frequency becomes your destiny isn't a fireworks display, it's silent. Sometimes it goes unnoticed, but you feel it. You feel it when you wake up, and for the first time the heaviness has disappeared. You feel it when you realize you're no longer begging for signs. You feel it when you respond to a provocation without reacting as before. You feel it when, amidst the chaos, something within you remains centered, intact, safe. This is what the universe responds to that energetic stability, to that coherence between what you think, what you feel, and what you do. When these three vectors point in the same direction, the field recognizes a clear vibrational pattern, and a clear pattern creates a clear reality. It's not about being perfect or happy all the time. It's about consistently vibrating what you want to experience, even in silence, even when no one believes it, even when everything seems the same on the outside. But here's the subtle trap. Many reach this state and then abandon it. They maintain it for minutes, for hours, but then the old self creeps back in. It brings a thought, an insecurity, an emotional trigger, and without realizing it, the body returns to its previous vibration. The field senses the oscillation, and what was forming unravels. This is why so many transformations seem promising but don't last, because the signal hasn't been maintained, and the field only builds around what's stabilized. So, the real turning point isn't doing something grandiose. It's maintaining a clean vibration long enough for the field to recognize it as a new baseline. This requires presence, attention, a kind of energetic discipline that comes not from effort, but from the decision to no longer collapse into the old pattern. And when you do it, when you stick with it even without immediate results, something changes. Time ceases to be the enemy. The weight becomes lighter. Confirmations begin to arrive without you asking for them. Coincidences increase. The way people look at you changes. Doors that seemed closed unlock on their own. Not because you begged, but because your presence has changed. And when your presence changes, everything changes. This is the point where your frequency becomes your destiny, where you stop wanting and start living, where the dream stops being a future desire and becomes your vibrational identity. But all this is possible only when a very specific frequency begins to pulsate within you, a vibration as quiet as it is steady, as subtle as it is powerful. And that's what we'll talk about now, because once it awakens, there's no turning back. But this only happens when you enter a frequency so specific, so aligned with the truth of your being, that the reality around you has no choice. It must respond. This vibration has a rare name, preserved in the most ancient schools of esoteric wisdom, Seikei. Thoth did not describe it as an emotion or a state of positive thought. He said that SAK was a vibration that activates only when the being stops seeking, stops projecting, stops waiting, and simply begins to be. It is the moment when the separation between desire and presence dissolves, where I want is replaced by I am, not in words, but in vibration. This vibration changes lives because it emits a signal so clean, so coherent, so silently still that it moves through the quantum field like an unmistakable signature. The universe recognizes this pattern because it brings no doubt. It brings no anxiety. It doesn't carry the frequency of lack. It brings completeness. It vibrates like something already accomplished. And here's the point no one tells you. The quantum field doesn't respond to what you think you deserve. It responds to what you already vibrate as present reality. And this vibration is sustained only when body, mind, and field are integrated at the same frequency. This integration creates what the ancients called the fixed point in eternal motion, a vibrational anchor that stops oscillating between past and future and is fixed in the absolute now. Heseke pulsates exactly like this, like a vibration that rests, that doesn't fidget, that doesn't need to prove anything. It's stable and therefore magnetic. It doesn't push, it attracts. It doesn't force, it allows. You can sense when someone is at this frequency. It's a presence that calms the environment even in silence. A person in Heseke can walk into a room and, without saying anything, shift the field of those around them because this vibration works beyond words. It's an energetic language, a direct transmission that alters the surrounding field without argument, without effort. It's powerful because it's pure. It's not mixed with fear or the desire for control. It's conscious vibrational surrender. And that surrender isn't passivity. It's the highest form of vibrational action. It's the act of becoming one with what you want to experience, to the point where there's no longer any separation between you and your desired reality. That's why this vibration changes lives, because it silently shifts the field. First, it changes how you feel, then it changes how you act. And then, without realizing it, you begin to make choices that align with the new timeline. Small choices. A no you didn't have the courage to say before. A yes that feels light even without a rational explanation. A pause before reacting. A deeper breath before deciding. These subtle shifts are a sign that SAK has begun to operate within you, and when this state becomes more frequent, it creates vibrational coherence. And that coherence is what the universe recognizes as readiness. It's when the field understands that you've stopped vibrating like someone who's trying. You've started vibrating like someone who already is. And when that happens, the signs begin to appear, but not as forced responses. They arrive naturally, in rhythm with the vibration you emit. They arrive as unsolicited messages, like unlikely encounters, like doors that open without you knocking. And above all, they arrive as internal confirmations. Because even if nothing external to you changes immediately, your peace has already settled in. You wake up and feel it. The day hasn't even begun, but something is different. You look at your old problems and realize they no longer have the same weight. Not because they've disappeared, but because you're no longer vibrating at the frequency of fear. You're operating at the frequency of certainty. And certainty is SAK's master code. It's not arrogant, it's not stubborn, it's quiet, it simply knows. It knows that everything is already underway. It knows that the field has already heard. It knows that destiny has already been imprinted in the invisible. And now all that remains is to keep pace. This is how reality bends. Not before the screaming will, but before the vibration that persists. And now that this state has begun to awaken in you, prepare yourself. Because the field will no longer treat you as someone who is learning. It will treat you as someone who already knows. And that's when the most unexpected signs begin to manifest. Signs so clear, so precise, that they will show you that you are finally vibrating in the field of your new life. And this is just the beginning, the moment when the signs begin to appear, and they are not a coincidence. Suddenly, you notice something strange. A number keeps appearing on your watch, on a receipt, on a license plate. 3 digits that seem to follow you everywhere, even though you weren't looking for them. 777, And as much as your mind tries to tell you it's a coincidence, your body feels something different, a subtle sense of confirmation as if the universe were whispering that it heard you, and it truly did. Thoth taught that certain numerical signs aren't just symbolic codes, they are vibrational pulses emitted by the field in direct response to your frequency. And 777 is one of them. It doesn't predict what will happen, it reveals what is already happening. It doesn't indicate the future, it reflects the present. Seeing this number isn't a prediction, it's a vibrational mirror, a confirmation that the SAK frequency has begun to stabilize in your field, that you're no longer trying to get where you want to go. You've begun to move from where you already are. 777 marks precisely this, the silent transition between wanting and being. And the curious thing is that it appears only when you stop searching. Because while you anxiously search for signals, the field interprets them as doubt. But when you let go, when you rest in vibrational certainty, the field returns signs like this, not as magic, but as an echo. In ancient Hermetic traditions, 777 represented the perfect triad, mind, body, and field in resonance, not as an ideal, but as a real state. It is the vibration of someone who has stopped sending conflicting signals, of someone who no longer lives in the contradiction between what they say, what you feel, and what you do. When these three align, the field responds, 777. And when that happens, the world feels different. Not because everything on the outside has changed, but because you have changed on the inside. And now the universe is simply responding. Little things flow easily. Conversations take on depth. You feel as if you are being guided by something invisible, and you are. But this is where the greatest test begins. Because even with the sign, even with the echo, the outside world may still not appear visibly different. The bills are still there. The work seems the same. People remain oblivious, and doubt begins to creep in. This is the point where many give up, because they feel they've done everything right. But the outside hasn't yet fully reflected the internal change. It's the vibrational test that separates those who are awakening from those who are merely experiencing it. And it doesn't come as a divine test. It comes as an energetic check. Are you truly grounded in the new frequency? Or were you just excited? The old self tries to return. It starts with a subtle thought. This is just a fluke. Then another comes along. Nothing is really changing. Then comes fear. What if it's all an illusion? And when you listen, you begin to descend vibrationally without realizing it. Thoth warned, the old screams loudest just before it dies, because the old version of you knows it's losing ground, and it will do anything to stay in control. It will provoke, it will use memories, it will dig up stories from the past, it will recreate familiar scenarios just to drag you back into the old cycle. But this isn't failure. It's a sign that you're right on the edge. This is where the new begins to be born. And the secret isn't to defeat fear. It's to stop obeying it, to stop reacting as before, to stop giving things the same meaning, because the field doesn't expect perfection, it expects stability. You don't have to eliminate doubt, you just have to not follow it, not answer the call of the old pattern, because the universe is watching what signal you maintain when everything still seems the same. And that is the decisive moment. This is where you become the reference point of the new reality. And if you can endure just one more step, just one more, you will enter the reality that has always been waiting for you. And it doesn't come with fanfare, it comes as recognition, as a return, as a home, as if you've always belonged there and had only forgotten until now. The vibrational test that separates those who awaken from those who give up. And then something subtle begins to happen. External reality, the one that seemed fixed, predictable, resilient, begins to rearrange itself, not in a spectacular way, not with grand events, but in the details. A path that seemed closed opens up through a simple conversation. An answer you've been waiting for weeks arrives without explanation. A delay puts you in the right place at the right time to meet someone who changes everything. This isn't a coincidence. It's not luck. It's the field responding. It's the vibration solidifying to the point that the universe begins to adjust the timelines around what you're holding. What was once invisible is now beginning to take shape. The energy you've been quietly cultivating is beginning to take shape, as if an old frequency is being dismantled and a new structure is being anchored in its place. The ancient alchemists called this the first movement, the moment when matter hasn't yet completely changed but has already succumbed to the influence of the new field. It's like the wind that begins to blow before the storm. First, a vibration moves, then the form responds. You begin to notice that the people around you react differently. Your boundaries begin to be respected. Situations that were draining your energy lose their grip. The world seems the same, but it no longer reacts the same way. Because it's not reacting to what you think, it's reacting to what you're vibrating now. And in that moment, something delicate happens. A transition point, a vibrational threshold, a space between the old and the new, and everything can blossom or collapse. This moment doesn't announce its arrival. It only comes when you're ready to decide whether to keep the new or return to the old for fear of taking the final step. This step isn't physical, it's energetic. It's the moment when you stop trying, stop pretending, stop wishing, and simply begin to live what once seemed like a distant dream. You stop visualizing, stop looking for signs, stop repeating mantras as if they were keys, because you have understood. You have become the point of attraction. And when that happens, everything changes, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. The universe no longer resists because you have stopped resisting. The separation between what I want and what I am has disappeared. You are no longer in seeking mode. You have entered embodiment mode. The frequency that was once merely an ideal is now your basic vibration. You awaken to it, you move from it, decide from it, and effortlessly carve out the path before you. Not because you asked for it, but because you aligned yourself. This is where everything unfolds. Not because reality has been forced, but because you've stabilized enough to allow it to emerge naturally. You've understood that the field has never responded to your will. It has always responded to your vibrational coherence. And that coherence is now you. You no longer live waiting for the next miracle, because the miracle has become your natural state. You no longer seek external validation, because your vibration has become your validation. The universe already recognizes it, it senses it. And that's why it begins to give you back versions of life that once seemed impossible. Not because you deserve more, but because you now contain more. And if, while listening to this, you felt something snap inside you, a clarity that came not from logic but from the body, an unexpected peace, a silent vibration that anchored effortlessly, then make no mistake, you're not visualizing the new life, you're already vibrating in it, and now it's responding to you. If you've come this far, it's because this frequency has truly touched something deep within you. And if these frequencies have resonated in your bones, leave a like. Because something inside you burns differently now. Write down the seed word that was born in your chest while listening, the one you can no longer ignore. And if you want to move further, join our community. You won't be a follower, you will be an alchemist of reality. Your every gesture fuels this silent revolution. Thank you for being part of the change. See you where magic is the mother tongue. May every step you take from now on resonate with the ancient certainty. You are already home. Signs will come like caresses, not answers, because you will no longer seek them. You will recognize them. The journey has just begun. Your every presence here is a thread in the fabric of a new consciousness that is being born through us. See you soon, architect of reality.